Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Brothers Perspective. I am your host, Kenny Steele, and this is my guest. I almost say co-host.
No, I'm being co-host.
Yeah.
How you doing?
We're totally taking applications because sometimes we can't find Kyle. Kyle, where are you? Oh, there he is. We want to say first, thank you for coming on to the show.
Thanks
We
for having me.
appreciate it. We are excited to have the first DFW All Pro Champion in the building, and we have actually been trying to get this together for a long time. So thank you for coming on the show, bro.
Thank you for having me.
So first off and foremost, if you want to introduce yourself and
I am
talk about
the King of Fools, Byron Anthos. So follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you follow one, you can find the others. See, you got to link it all together. Less work for the masses.
So how did you get started? I remember meeting you at DFW All Pro. You were one of Lamont's first students. I believe you're part of that first class that he actually had. And I will say this, watching you has been, I have always been very impressed by your work.
Well, thank you.
Very impressed. You've kind of taken to wrestling like, like a fish to water. It's just, it's weird. I had no idea how it came from. It's just I've often seen people kind of come in and take bumps and kind of move, but everything you've done has been so fluent and just smooth, easy transitions. It is like you have kind of just advanced way beyond your years. I know you probably get that a lot. You probably tell people how long you've been in the business, and they go, "Are you kidding me?"
I do, and I usually have to qualify it and let them know that, like, for the 10 years before I started getting into wrestling, I was a dancer.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Footwork has been kind of like my bread and butter.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
But to be fair, I actually cannot remember how I started at DFW because I was looking around for a place to try out, and I cannot remember if I just did a general inquiry on Facebook, or if somebody Lamont probably didn't even reach out to me hey, who's this kid? But it started with a message, and then he's like, yeah, we're having a tryout this weekend, and I'm like, how much? Because I remember 10, 12 years ago, I was looking into wrestling back when I was in college, and somebody said that it's $2,000 will get you started right now, and I'm like, I'm in college. No, the way my student loans are set up, no, I don't have $2,000. I'm trying to get $2,000.
Absolutely.
And so that kind of killed me at that time. I was like, man, it's just gonna be too expensive. It's not gonna happen for several years. And while that might have been true, he gave me the rate and said, yeah, just come and do the tryout. And I got the money for the tryout, and then actually had the money for the down payment to do it. And
Nice.
For those of you that don't know, at DFW All Pro, the trainer Lamont Williams will always tell people, one, shop around, check other schools, see which school is actually going to be right for you, and two, he will give you time to work out a work schedule and make sure that everything's going so that you're not killing yourself, going to bed at 4 in the morning to wake up at 6 a.m. to live your dreams, because it's just not healthy. So he, after the end of the tryout, he would talk to everybody one-on-one and say I think you can do this, this, and this, and then, go home, figure stuff out. And I'm like, here's my money. Here's my down payment. Here it is. I came here to do this. So not sure how it started, but that was where it began.
That's awesome. And how, so what inspired you to kind of get into it? You mentioned earlier talking about college, and, that was kind of a dream that you had to put on hold, and you kind of circled back to it, and it's just kind of worked itself out.
Yeah, I don't come from a family of dreamers. I come from a family of workers, and everybody always starts off, you're a fan when you're a kid. That actually wasn't true for me. I know. Oh my God, I haven't been a fan my whole life. No.
Oh my God.
But when I was a kid, it was growing up in the '90s. It was the big man body slamming style that was big at the time, and then I kind of fell out with it for about 8 years or so, and then was flipping through the channels when I was home alone one day. The first match I stopped on was Eddie Guerrero versus S.A. Rios.
Nice.
Completely different from what I thought wrestling was.
Nice.
And so that just kind of sparked it. And then the next week, they were at the tail end of their feud. So the next week was when they were building up SA versus one of the Hardy Boys, and SA and Lita were starting to split. And I just fell in love at that point. I became obsessed, particularly with the Hardy Boys and Lita. Like, that style was, you know, the extreme style that they were doing right then was a big catalyst. And like I said, you know, I come from a family of workers, so at that time it was like, yeah, you can be whatever you want to be as long as your bills are paid. And I'm like, So like even in college, I went through so many different majors, photography, psychology. I was pre-med for a year.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
And then the first time that I broke away from that, my college roommate, who I had grown up with, and he knew for a fact that I never danced a day in my life, dared me to audition for UNT's hip hop group.
Wow.
And it was going to be like one of those like stupid. I know. That was my reaction too. Because
That's awesome.
It was going to be one of those stupid like stories that you have in college. Like, hey, remember when we were in college and you did that hip hop thing? Yeah. Turns out I was good.
Man.
Turns out I was actually pretty good at it.
That's awesome.
Wasn't the best, didn't get on it, but like I stayed with that. And then over the course of 10 years, I built that into a job.
Nice.
And then when I was 29, we'll get into how old I am now. When I was 29, seeing that how much I had done, and I'd actually started working with some people that took singing and dancing and acting and stuff that was their passion and their dream and everything, and turned that into a career, and seeing what I had done was something that I was passionate about, I said, you know what, I'm not getting any younger. I want to find a wrestling school just to say that I at least did it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I did, and 3 years later, here we are. And if you're doing the math, I'm 33.
Well, I would not have guessed that, but it's just, and it's crazy to me because I'll watch your matches, man, and you work like a guy that's been in the business for at least 10, you know, and kind of, you know, but it just, I was telling Reza Clark earlier, you know, we're also talking about Nate Collins as well and several other people. The work ethic that they instill at DFW All Pro is second to none.
Yeah.
I mean, it is phenomenal, and guys get better. They get better in leaps and bounds.
I think the
so
benefit,
incredible.
I think the benefit from that actually comes from Lamont himself, because even from the tryout perspective, he's one of the few people out there. You can even check him out on social media, like what little he puts out there as a human being, and then like what he puts out as the worker himself. It's straight up business, but he is so grounded. He will tell people to shop around. He will tell them to take time, figure out if this is what you want. He will not make like any empty promises, like I'm going to get you signed in with Ring of Honor or get you here, and there and everything. No, he says, you're going to wrestle. Period. If you're here, you're going to wrestle. Everything else is up to us. And that's why you'll see so many people come out of DFW All Pro going different ways. Like we got guys in Mexico right now. We got guys traveling the country. We got, you know, the girls have developed their own show.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Everything has just taken on a life of its own. And so that brings in more people that say, I want to do that. How did you do it? Say, I showed up here every day.
Right.
Busted my butt and made the choices that got me to where I am.
No, absolutely. And and to definitely, follow your work and hear that you've been, just kind of going state to state, kind of doing your thing, working with different, wrestlers, working at different promotions, kind of taking a piece here and there. It was just kind of like, it was very impressive. I haven't really seen anybody pick that stuff up that quick and make strides that quick, especially in this area. So that was definitely a hats off to you. As far as your work with DFW All Pro, if I'm not mistaken, you're even now to the point where you're just helping out guys, helping them find their footing, helping them find their strides. Because I see you post a lot about, positive reinforcement about training on social media.
Yes. I try not to be too much because, we don't like to coddle people. It's like, no, if you've had a bad night, you've had a bad night.
Absolutely.
But in the last, I want to say almost a year or so, he's kind of, Lamont Bugatti, he has kind of promoted some of us to be like the assistant trainers that are there. So it's myself, Alejandra, Nate Collins, Jay Ace, who's been there from the beginning, CT Jones, the people that have been around him enough to know how he would teach. Different things about positioning, about hand, like hand placement on certain things, and the whys. So he knows that if he has to step out and talk to somebody for 20 minutes, or he gets a call, or X, Y, and Z, why ever he has to leave, he knows that he can put certain people in charge and not compromise the integrity of what he teaches.
Absolutely. Man, that's dope. How do you feel about the growth of DFW All Pro show? It just became like, it's funny.
God,
it was
from
almost,
where it started.
Yeah, it's like it's become like a blink and you would have missed it type of deal. It happens. It's happening very rapidly, very fast, and it's good business.
It's really hard to imagine that just about 6 months ago we just had our 2nd year anniversary, and to see where we've gone from. You know, we used to run out of the old BTW house down in Cleveland, and then Halton City picked us up, and even from where we started there to where it is now, like, the fans have built it to what it is, the workers have built it to what it is. It's just astounding. And then it gets to be a little bit crazy, because some people are like, man, how do I get on the show? How do I get on the show? And I'm like, you know, it's our student show, right?
Yeah.
like these are our guys that we're bringing up here. Like, that's what's so hard to remember, because of how much we drill into our guys before they come out there, that this is their learning platform.
Mm-hmm.
And it in and of itself has taken on to be, you know, just another show for a lot of workers and a lot of fans. One that people want to get in on, and I think it's just amazing that the amount of work that everybody's put into it.
Absolutely, and it's a phenomenal show, top to bottom. You know, it's sometimes hard to forget. You forget, like, it's a student show, because again, you know, the students at DFW All Pro are so immensely talented, and of course, you know, every style varies.
Mm-hmm.
None of you know, each class, regardless of who they are, always have guys with just different styles. Like you said, the crew, you know, they just came back from Mexico doing their
They're on their
thing.
2nd trip right now.
They were on their 2nd trip. Nate has a completely different style. Hyde, Reza Clark, everyone, you know, Alejandro, everybody just has their own unique style, and they found them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the beauties about the school is it's so hard to kind of go from show to show, or at least, you know, promotion to promotion, work different guys, and not have at least an identity, a character of who you are, what you would do. And I think, you know, taking the bumps and doing the spots, you know, that's kind of some of the easy stuff. Kind of thinking on your feet, kind of going with what's natural. That's kind of, and find out who you are.
And that's what the show is for.
Exactly. That's the meat and potatoes.
And that's the kind of interesting thing whenever we have people coming in and checking out the show for the first time. They talk like, you know, how this guy needs to work on this guy needs to work on that. I said, you know what, we absolutely know that. And that's what this is actually all about. I think that one of the best examples of, like, the strength that we have over here is, like you said, the diversity of the style. Like, it's so hard to imagine that with one coach and a handful of assistant coaches, so many people can come out with so many different styles. Because the benefit is that at DFW All Pro, you can be who you want to be, and all we're going to do is, like, help you enhance it. You know, we'll give you, like, a little bit of, like, rough perspective. It's like, you know what, you can probably do an RKO off the top rope. You need to work on your flexibility to get up to the top rope first. we have new guys right now. They're like, can I do a flip off the top rope? Like, you can't do a flip standing yet, bro. So, like, not yet. Not yet. Every partner says that you can do it, but not yet. And that's the exciting thing for a lot of the new people to come in, is that they see, you know, the assistant coaches. We were the first students there. We are the first round of graduates and everything, and they see, and so we have to very, very much remind them that every single thing they've done, every bump they feel, every ache they feel, everything, we've been there. We are not one of those old school training programs that's like, we're going to haze you, and then, you know, we're just going to beat on you, and then if you survive it, great, you're a worker, and if you don't, then get out of the business, kid. It's like, no. If you came here wanting to wrestle, we're not going to kill that dream, but if you come in and decide that it isn't for you,
right,
that's fine. That is okay. It's okay to say that this isn't it.
And what I've really liked most about the show, and it's funny because you don't really find this too often. I mean, it's starting to kind of be a little bit of a thing now, but you don't really see it that often. I often see a lot of the DFW All Pro students it's kind of like, you know, like a family and a fraternity. Everyone pushes each other. Everyone pushes each other. You guys travel a lot together.
Yep.
Even if you're not really working the same shows, you're networking with one another. I've seen it plenty of times where it's just somebody's had a show and it's like a group of the girls there. They're just at a show collectively together. A group of the guys there. It's a nice little, crazy little mix. And I'm just like, Jesus. I'm from Detroit, so I immediately went like, oh, dude, they're like a gang, dude. They're crazy. but that's just me. Again.
You know what? I'm also
it's
Cleveland,
crazy.
so I mean.
Yeah. So it was wild, but it was dope to see so many like-minded individuals, supporting and pushing one another, and and it just building. Christian doing is something really great.
I think it will only get bigger in that perspective because as there become more mentors, as the graduates start taking in some of the newer people and everything, we really want them to understand, everybody in the business talks about paying dues, and we really want them to see like the live action version of that, not just coming to our show and setting up where it's expected, but it's like going to another show and, doing the same things, the difference between how we interact with each other versus how we are professionally. It's really important that they just see that we're not just blowing smoke.
Exactly.
Because it is important.
No, absolutely. So going back to styles, when we talked before, your style's different. I can't even really pinpoint it. It's the only, and the only one I kind of related to, if I kind of think about wrestling, is almost kind of like Kota Ibushi. Not as crazy, but when you see Kota makes his transitions, it is insane.
I'll take that.
Yeah, and he's one of my favorite guys to watch. You're also one of my favorite guys to watch, and definitely in a different light, because when I watch Kota Ibushi, I'm terrified for his life. Like, I am honestly terrified for that.
Every
man.
move is a Hail Mary.
Exactly. I'm like, just whatever you do, live. I don't care who goes over.
Just survive.
Just survive. But no, you and your you know what I'm saying, your style is definitely different. You get a lot of great character work. Where did that come from?
The best thing that I can root it to is, I've always been a performer. Like, not even just dancing for 10 years, but I also have done, like, some circus characters and things like that. And it's so much of just who I am that I try to marry the two. Actually, even my last name here, Anthos, it was a character that was developed in a haunted house that they made specifically for me. I was a gatekeeper.
Nice.
And so I had to, like, have the script and tell them exactly how everything was going to work down there, don't touch the performers, things like that, but I had to do it in character, and they let me have so much free reign with it, and that was about, I want to say within 6 months of me actually starting DFW All Pro, so it was still kind of fresh to me, and I was just like, in the back of my head as, I was John Blow Nobody, and, just getting my butt kicked for 6 to 8 months, and I was just like, could I be this character?
Right.
Is this going to work in this world?
Right.
And then I just said, I'm going to make it work in this world.
That's definitely a way to go. So yeah, because I when I first started kind of watching you, and it kind of sort of developed, I was like, okay, this is different, but different is good. It was different in a good way, especially with your talent. And when you kind of start, and it's always nice to watch a performer grow. A lot of people always talk about like how they always watch Jericho go from character to character. And not to say that you've gone that way yet, but I have seen the evolution and the steps that you've taken.
I have felt it. Like different guys that I've performed with have just thrown me around the ring have just always brought something completely different out. There's been people that where the work kind of flows, and then there's some where like the character was more than I thought it would be.
Right.
And then it's those ones that I really remember, and I'm like, okay, so if I just shut up and stop thinking for a second and just react,
right,
it goes over.
Right. And I think that's usually the thing that always that's always the best surprise, because it's just like it's like
you always hope.
Exactly. Yeah.
You always hope that something's gonna.
You always hope that something goes over, but that nothing beats something that's just natural.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just something that's natural and that kind of comes to you.
There was a moment, oh my gosh, when I had a match with Jerome Daniels, and Jerome Daniels just loved to talk smack when he's in the ring. He loves it. He's gonna try and pull something out of you. And he said something where it's like, all these people are going to watch you get your butt kicked all over DFW. And I said, first of all, they've already seen me get my butt kicked all over DFW. The crowd popped so hard. think, and I was just like, this is just me being my normal smart aleck self in life. And I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna relax. Just gonna relax on all that stuff.
No, absolutely. No, and yeah, and Jerome's definitely a guy that's.
He was one of my favorites. He pushed me like no tomorrow.
That's awesome, man. And kind of getting to that show. Like, speaking of that, who are some of your favorite opponents that you like? You know, the kind of work with.
Somebody actually asked me this on Instagram the other day because I did that whole.
I saw that post, but I wasn't gonna say nothing. I saw the post and I was like, oh, I'm gonna let him speak it when he gets.
Yeah. Let's see. It was definitely Jerome Daniels. Malico was a recent one that had a lot of good stuff in it. Sammy was great. Sammy Guevara, he was awesome. Nothing like fighting your trainer.
Yeah.
Lou always pulls the best out of everybody in there.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
I mean, those are the ones that like really stand out as pushed me from like when I thought I was down here, they pushed me up to here because I always look at them and be like, you know, he's been on Ring of Honor, he's been on Fight Network, and you know all this stuff like that, and then they really just kind of like smack me and say like, you know what, it doesn't matter if you feel like you're at this level or not. When that bell rings, you have to be.
Absolutely.
That triple threat with Shane Taylor and Andy Dalton, like they were some of the best, and like they gradually elevate you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they pull you up in a way that you don't even realize until you're there.
Yeah.
Because you can have that moment where it's like, crap, you're this guy, you're that guy, and you were just in Japan, and now you flew 24 hours just to fight me, and it's like when that bell rings, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You have to be right up there with them.
Absolutely.
So they were definitely some of the ones. But then there are guys that, you know, I train with regularly. I even qualified that on Instagram and said, I'm not going to include the guys that I train with 5 days a week. And we end up, you know, at a show somewhere, it's like, oh, well, I guess we're just punching each other again. But those guys would be like CT Jones, J.A., CJ Ward. We just know each other inside and out.
Awesome.
And we're always still pushing each other.
So yeah, and kind of going back and touching on just like you said, just liking up with different guys. Who have you tried to emulate, or at least tried to, like, you saw and you was like, I'm gonna pluck a little bit from that guy, I'm gonna pluck a little bit from this person, and kind of just mesh it? Or have you just, and I wouldn't be surprised if you said this, or you're just a person that just kind of just developed it as you went along, because you are very unique.
There were certain things that I knew going in that I wanted to do.
Okay.
And some things that I fell into by accident.
Okay.
Like I said, I was a big Hardy Boy, Lita fan, more Lita than anything. I was a kid in high school. She just brought that new style, so I always knew I wanted to do like the diving Rana and everything like that. It was just something new, but then I was like, well, I'm 5'11", 6 foot, who's going to do that? Sure enough. And, but there are times when we'll do something in training. We'll spend like a night working on a particular technique, and then I'll be like, wow, I'm really digging this. So like, I started like working arm drags, and then I was like, okay, well from here I'm just gonna do like 5,000 different arm techniques. Mm-hmm. You know, things that can help me still do this one thing. There are a lot of things that I tend to develop over time, ideas that I have, stuff that I want to try. But to kind of enhance on that, I actually have taken more to, in my role as assistant coach, notice things out there that I want to give other people.
No, yeah. It's funny to touch on your trainer, but Lamont used to do, we were training all the time. He was like, yo, try this. It does, little things. Like you can kind of, maybe kind of go, and you'll be surprised how well they kind of just fit like hand in glove.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really love building up a lot of people that are coming up and the people that are already there under our umbrella. I'm never going to tell you what to do with your stuff. I am not doing that. But like, yeah, I just love seeing people take that new evolution of something that they already want to do, finding a new way to do it, and then seeing it actually like go over in the crowd.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's crazy because like I watch guys like I hope I get their name right because I actually like these kids. Supreme Savages.
Yep.
Am I not lying?
Yep.
Supreme Savages.
Those guys are gold.
Yeah. Christian Mox, if I'm not mistaken, and CJ, and CJ Ward. Like those dudes are just like, I'm telling you, like they're great, and it's nice, and it was nice to see like that first graduating class, that second graduating class, and now it's nice to see it's just constantly continuing.
We actually have a new one coming up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, excited for that. Excited for that.
The one thing, I'm going to put the Savages over here real quick. I knew that they were good because they, watching them train and everything, I knew how good they were and how good they were going to be. I didn't realize how good they had gotten after a certain point until they did a tag team tournament recently for TCW. And what ended up happening was they did first round, semifinals, and finals. In those matches, they never repeated any of their stuff.
Wow.
They had 3 completely different matches.
Nice.
With 3 completely different, actually I think like 5 or 6 different tag team techniques.
Yeah. You know, and I actually heard about that.
And I didn't realize how much they had been working on themselves, and like that's what was really cool to see.
That's not bad at all, man. And yeah, shout out to those guys. Definitely. When they hit the curtain, I'm just like, ooh, okay, cool.
Dude, they are over through the curtain.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
see something different. That's always unique. You see something different.
I just need them to get a new highlight video because right now it's still their first match versus Xavier.
Oh wow.
I need y'all to get some more content, get some more footage out there. So guys, do it, please.
Absolutely. So a very personal story. I realize I will touch on. How did it feel being the first DFW All Pro Champion?
It was something I wasn't expecting.
Okay.
I wasn't ready for it at the time because I always feel like the champion of a place needs to be like the role model, the example. And at that time, I still felt like I wasn't far enough ahead of the others to be that person. Because like every class was always like 2 to 4 months behind me. And like I was still working on myself and everything. I didn't feel like I was the spearheader of a lot of stuff. Still so much working on myself, and then for that to happen, because I mean, I think I have a huge benefit being as old as I am when I started. I don't have a young mentality for a lot of things, thinking that I deserve this and I deserve that and everything like that. So I was always looking around, especially the people that were in the tournament for the title and everything. I was like, this guy's more experienced, this guy travels more than I do, they're going to be able to do this, this, and this. Even thinking about who's going to take it and where it would go from there. Like if Tristan won it, where would he go with that? If Jay won it, where would he go? If Tony got it, what would he be like? If I got it, what would it be like? I have such like a broad scope of where everything's going to go in the big picture, but when it happened, I was just like really overwhelmed. I mean, there's videos of me crying that will never, ever, 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 ever resurface. I have blocked them, reported them. My makeup was on point. So, but when I got it, and then it was kind of, again, it's like, when you get into the ring with somebody that's like decades more experience than you, it's like once you have it, you have no choice but to rise up to it. So without being like I'm the champion and everything, it's like I wanted so much for everybody to be enhanced, for everybody to grow, for everybody to be like, this is possible.
Right.
And that's a lot of what our graduates now are setting the example for, like the crew in Tristan or in Mexico right now. Like that's a standard that anybody that comes to DFW and wants to do lucha can do.
Right.
They've done it. They know how to do it. You want to do it, go to them. If you want to travel out of state, you've got myself, you've got basically all of our girls.
Yeah.
You got Nate, you've got, there's so many people out there that are doing things for the first time for DFW that everybody there is kind of like, this gonna sound so freaking corny, everyone there is kind of like the champion in their own right.
Gotcha.
Everybody there gives you a different avenue.
No, absolutely. I will tell you what, my reaction when I actually did see the photos and the video before I got reported. Honestly, I completely agree. I thought, no, from training with you, from working with you, from popping up when I could, I definitely thought, I was like, no, absolutely, definitely needs to go to Byron. I think if there was anyone who was a prime example of work ethic, anyone that was a prime example of character development, anybody that was a prime example, at least having a good head on their shoulders, not letting, of course, I'm
older.
Yeah,
he's calling me old.
At least confident, or at least, and I'm old school with it. I believe the man doesn't make the title. I'm sorry, the title doesn't make the man makes the title.
I think we made each other.
So yeah, so I think
it did a lot for me that year.
Yeah, you having that definitely. I didn't think there was in that locker room at the time, and I could be wrong, a better standard bearer.
I agree with that. That just at that time, because I think it kind of helped and hindered that when I started, there was like 3 guys in my class, and then by the time that title came into the picture, there was me.
Right.
And I try not to let it like get down on me like by default, because I mean Tristan pulled himself up so quickly and so fast. He had experience from somewhere else as well, but like I said, I felt like anybody could have taken it that night, and it was an honor to have it. Like it was an honor to carry. It's an honor to be the first.
Absolutely.
To be the first in-ring performer graduate, to be the first champion. Like it's on my Instagram. I'll be a mark for myself, but it's more of a mark for DFW. To be the first is such a big thing.
Yeah, and I will give you that. Like I'm a huge fan of New Japan, and the deal. What I love about that promotion so much is like all of the guys, everybody that come, that step foot in that ring is such a talented worker. You can believe on any night anyone could have a championship or a title.
Yeah.
And I will, and DFW All Pro is definitely starting to be a smaller version of that. Like a student version of that, where a lot of the guys they may not be on the same level, but that work ethic, that passion, that drive is definitely believable. That any night you can't really call it.
Yeah.
And especially how the booker likes to switch things around.
It happens. It happens.
So he definitely doesn't go for what's common for sure.
No.
You'll be sitting up there, it's like, oh, they got I was like, I thought that was it. So yeah, that's for sure. That's awesome, man. So where have you been working? Or where are you going? What's looking up for you? Would you like to tell the people where they can find you? What shows they can find you?
Well, of course, you can always catch me at DFW All Pro, second Friday of the month in Halton City. So stay tuned to the site for that. Beyond that, I'm traveling a lot more. I will be in Memphis in 2 weeks. I will be in Colorado the week after. And then actually on the 29th, I will be at San Antonio Pride. They are doing a family-friendly wrestling show down there. So I think Team Shade might be making an appearance.
Nice.
So we will be around, and always follow me, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I will always let you guys know where Byron Anthos. He's following. You should too.
Yeah.
So yeah, just follow me, and you can see where to follow me.
I don't even know how to segue to that. But also, if you guys, please like, share, and subscribe to this video. If you want to follow us, you can at Brothers Perspective. You can follow us on Instagram at, which was our Instagram, is Brothers_Perspective_, and Twitter is Bro_Perspective. And also follow us on Facebook at Brothers Perspective. You can follow me, mine is a little more simpler, at KenDogDMFT on Twitter and Twitter and Instagram. Facebook is Kenny Steele, because that's my name.
That's him.
So, but please remember to like, share, subscribe.
What's up, YouTube? I just want to say thanks for making it to the end of the videos. I know Kenny can be long-winded at times. And also check us out on our social media page. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you click on our YouTube page. From now on, peace.